It's happening here too. I lived for a number of years in Puerto Rico, and I'm soy Boricua. And I lived through Hurricane Maria in 2017. That was a Category 4 and 5 hurricane which devastated Borinquen, our native homeland. What we were dealing with there were 150-mile-an-hour winds for not 3 or 4 hours. You know, Iniki in 1992 was like 3 or 4 hours, yeah? This one was going for 12 hours straight. It was like a calming period, and then you would hear like locomotive, it was like a locomotive train building and building and building. The winds would just roar. That went on for 12 hours. The island was devastated. It could have been prevented, not the hurricane, but the aftermath, due to ill preparation, incompetency, which was the Puerto Rican government, which is what they displayed, yeah? They were saying 64 people died originally, 64. Yeah, they were holding on to that, and Donald Trump was over there throwing paper towels, yeah? That was bullshit. Over 3,000 people perished in Puerto Rico as a result of that hurricane, and many of them were elderly, on dialysis, in hospitals, in care, in the montañas, in secluded places. They didn't have electricity. Yeah, they didn't have electricity. They died slow death, over 3,000 people. Yeah. So when we had over here Maui fires, yeah, the first thing I thought, and I was studying that issue, they were coming up with the same excuses, the same lies, the same misinformation. Yeah, they were ill prepared. In 2018, there was a fire on Maui, right? Some of you are from Maui, you know. Yeah? What did they do? Did they learn from that? No, they did not learn from that hurricane. They did not prepare. And now we had this one over here, yeah, in 2023, incompetency, the same bullshit going on, you know? Finally, I want to close talking about Iniki again, yeah? So we had Iniki. Iniki was a Category 4 hurricane, right? About 145-mile-an-hour winds that was coming straight for Oahu. It was coming south, right? Usually the hurricanes, they come from the east and they hit the big island and come this way, right? Iniki came from the south. It's coming straight and was coming straight for Oahu, and it veered at the last moment and it hit Kauai, and you guys know it devastated, right? A lot of Kauai. That was a Category 4, yeah? With the warming oceans and the shit going on, climate denial and all that stuff, I'm concerned, and this is not a warning. This is like, could be a reality. But if a hurricane ever comes from the south here, a Category 5, yeah, with the rising temperatures, they're getting stronger and stronger. If a Category 5 ever hits the South Shore, the leeward coast, Waikiki, Honolulu, leeward, it's gonna be wiped out, you guys. It's gonna be big time problem. So the question is, what is the state? What are they doing about this? What are they informing us about? Are they preparing for this? Yeah, are they letting us know about this possibility? And lastly, you know, you guys, I mean, you can take my advice or not, but you know, you can start to prepare for yourselves too, to know this, that this is a real possibility, okay? And I thank the organizers for giving me a minute. Mahalo, mahalo.
Mahalo once again. Aloha kako, it's time to introduce our honoree for this year, 2024, La Hoʻihoʻi Ea, somebody we selected as of great importance to our La Hui. So ladies and gentlemen, Sparky Rodriguez is a veteran Kanaka Maoli activist from Oahu. He has been active for decades in grassroots movements for Āina, sovereignty and community well-being. Most widely known for his involvement with Mālama Mākua. Eo. Alongside his late wife, Leandra Wai. Uncle Sparky was also part of the Kupuna line at Mauna Kea and spent 20 years as a video producer with Olelo Community Media until his retirement in 2016. Uncle Sparky lives in Lualua, where he continues to be an active member of Mālama Mākua, the Waianae Moku Kupuna Council, and the broader West Side community. Uncle Sparky is also at the leading edge of the community efforts to hold the United States military accountable for the harms it has caused, to increase community access to military-held lands, such as in Makua Valley, and to advocate for the well-being and safety of communities on the West Side. For Uncle Sparky, quote, "Ku'e every day." La hui aloha. Please welcome Uncle Sparky Rodriguez.
Aloha. You know, I'm not that smart because I went to American Standard School, public school. It takes a long time for me to learn stuff, so repetition is really important. So sometimes kicking my toes 10 times is how I learn, look where I'm going. So, you know, it takes time to be Hawaiian. And growing up in American school, it's pledge allegiance to the flag. So as a veteran, when I came back from Name, I had a hard time separating myself from being American. The American flag looked really nice, safe, protecting. But then I had this conflict inside between Hawaiian and American, and it took a long time. And when Hanani said, "I'm not American, I would die Hawaiian," that scared the shit out of me. Emotionally, I was affected, and I didn't know how to resolve some of those issues. But it took me time, and what it worked out to be was that I'm not anti-American. I'm pro-Hawaiian, I'm pro-Āina, and it made it easier for me to deal with that conflict. I was able to separate those feelings of Americanism versus being Hawaiian. Still doing that. And Sam Ka'ai helped me with the definition of understanding, because we deal with the military a lot. I don't like it. I don't like dealing with them because their mission is mission critical. They gotta get to a certain objective. I don't like being an objective. I don't want Makua to be an objective where they can go bomb, and now they're talking about, well, they like them back. They want to retain it. Are they talking about cleaning it, or no more money, or it's not safe? So what does that mean? When I went to Puerto Rico, the military bombed the heck out of that island. And then 1/3 of it, they turned it back to the people, or to Puerto Rico. And you could see 250-pound bombs sticking out of the ground. But then put up a sign, danger, unexploded ordnance. You could see them from the road. But they turned over the property to Fish and Wildlife, where it became a preserve for the pelicans. Will they do that to Makua? Will they do that to any of the lands they're talking about returning? Of course, that's an option. They can also go to the president and say, give a president edict, say, no, we're gonna take it. We want it in fee. This is one of the things that the Americans have imported. Fee property ownership. So separating us from the Āina has been one of their mantras from the beginning. It had to be the white guys limiting access, limiting votes, changing the rules so we could not participate. Because they knew if we participated, they would not get what they wanted. How do we do that today? One of the things that over the years, learning to be quiet, learning to listen, and not necessarily to other people, but listening to the Āina. So today, Manuaku is flying around. This is really one of the only places that they really thrive. And how do they do that? They lay one egg on top of a branch or on a railing, no nest. They just lay the egg, and that's how they propagate. But you look at the coconut trees, symbol of ku. Every single one of them is castrated. Another symbol of how Western belief takes away a food supply that could end up nurturing us and making it so that dehumanize not only the community but the Āina. And that's really the American standard. I look at the missionaries, you know, our population of being Hawaiian. Back then, you could have relationships, and there was not this limitation on who, what, when, why. Now, you know, can, because they passed the Kolohe law that prevented any kind of outside of their wedlock system to be in a relationship. And that's one of the things. It was really hard to understand. How did we get caught up in that stuff? If you look around, we're in Ahupua, maybe a Ili, part of a Moko. Where are the boundaries? Do you see any cultural indicators that show us what that might look like? Bulldozed, all of them. Was it bulldozed because of religious implications that it might empower the Hawaiians? Was it something that they wanted to just get out of the way so they could put in a road or a building or something? Over time, to help me learn and understand, I had to look for heroes. Sole Niheo was one of them. I asked him, how come you don't smoke or drink? And he said he would not support the colonizer. So what do? Many of us smoke and drink because we don't see the connection of these guys that we're giving money to that are colonizing and oppressing us. At the same time, they separate us from the Āina. We don't see the Ahupua markers. We don't see anything. And the thing is, all of these fee simple. If you look at the agencies across the street, they got a post office, federal government. You go to Kilauea Volcano National Park, federal government. You go to the harbors, federal government. You go up Moko, state government. All of these governments keep us away from the Āina. We do not have access. You want to go and find peace? You want to go and heal your demons? Where do we go to find peace? Where do the men go to find peace? Where do the women go to find peace? Is there any place in our community that we are allowed to go and heal without some sign saying we close at 4 o'clock? Or you cannot go, you put up a tent, you're camping, and now the Supreme Court said you cannot camp. So where is the connection to being Hawaiian? Within the military, there's certain things. There's special interest versus life. What is the special interest here? The businesses, the military, the state, the government. They're all looking at protecting something, but it's not us. One of the things that I found recently as we were going through some of the documents of the military occupation here was that they called a scorched earth policy. During the 40s, after Pearl Harbor was attacked, the scorched earth policy was to destroy all of the assets, the resources that could end up allowing transportation, allowing efficient movement by the enemy. So they would blow up intersections, buildings, businesses. Even in Mokua, Mokua was slated as a site to be destroyed. Mokua Cave. If they blew that section of the mountain up, it would block the road where you could not go to Āina. Kahana Bay, that place was slated for destruction as well. Not the bay, but the mountain, to create a blockage where you could not go past. A lot of the businesses and roads in here were all slated for that scorched earth policy. Now this is what the military brings to us. They were even mining our communities. So right now, this is how they behave. They have a mission and they don't care about us. If there was a war, they would contract all of their resources into their boundaries, and we were left to suck olives. We got to survive on our own. So what Radar said, talking about emergency preparedness, we need to prepare ourselves. We cannot depend on the government. We cannot depend on anybody to save us but us. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, forget it. In a Category 5 for Oahu, my house in Waianae would be gone. The whole community would be flattened. Are we prepared? We can prepare to a certain level, but we're not completely ready for something like that. When Leandra and I was working on healing our relationship in Mokua, we didn't know the military was behind getting the evictions to happen. So the military was forcing the governor to clear the beaches so they could do amphibious landings. That's how we got started with Mokua. Indirectly, we didn't know. And what was going on was that I was getting really pissed at the government because we were looking for a long-term solution to homelessness that didn't arrive. And till today, same problem. They only do sweeps. They spend millions, but no solution. And all they gotta do is make a decision to help heal those situations. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal for them. And during that time, I met this one attorney who was helping with mediation. And he was saying the American Indians, when they would go hunting, they would kill their food and bring it back, but they would not allow it back into their village because they left their food at the outline, at the boundary. The women would come get it, they'd process for the food. But what was happening is that the men had to level their waters before they went back into their community, back to their families, back to their kids. When I came back from Nam, PTSD, this was no place. They said, thank you very much, aloha, bye, here, go home. So all the vets that came back from any combat situation, it doesn't matter how minor it is, they could be a secretary, they could be a driver, and no action at all, but because you're paying attention at such a high level that it affects you. You come back with PTSD. We never had a chance to level our waters. So with RIMPAC, we've got military men, whether it's first time or long time, they're all trained killers. I went through the same killing training, and every vet that is retired are trained killers. So that energy, that dark energy, did we help heal it before we came back to the community? No. And some people can manage through that, but not everybody. I still struggle with that today. So the military is so invasive and oppressive that dark energy that they're doing right now is importing death to our community. If this is the Aloha state, if we want to be the Pico of peace, we need to make sure that that is the energy that we're putting out and demanding from everybody. And we cannot be talking nice to these guys. We gotta tell them, go away. Or make sure you leave all of your pilau outside. You gotta level your energy before you come in our community. They're not. Because we've never shared that with them. They don't know how to level their waters. This turns out to be each of our individual kuleana. We need to learn how to level our waters, learn to observe, listen to the Āina, and pay attention. For the last 20, going on 30 years, this is what we had to do with Makua. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do what I'm doing. But Makua said, you don't have a choice. And we, as Hawaiians, we do not have a choice. We can give up, roll over and die, or we can take a step at a time. We're just a grain of sand, no problem. One grain at a time. With the EIS, we've got three events coming up. The 9th, the 10th, and the 11th at different locations on the island. Check out the website. If you get a chance to look at the Army's website for the EIS, for renewing the leases, they want to retain all their lands. They don't want to give nothing back. Because if they can retain it, they don't need to pay anything to clean it. And if you follow Red Hill, they're not going to fully clean up their mess because it's too dangerous, too expensive. At some point, they're going to say we can't afford it or we're not going to get funded. It'll be like Ko'olawi. $400 million at Ko'olawi, spent the money and never finished cleaning up. In Makua, I don't want Makua turned over to Fish and Wildlife where they don't have to clean it up, but they can keep us out of it. Historic preservation does not allow us to go and restore cultural sites because their method is to leave in place a museum piece. So what's our collective kuleana to all of these things? Two things, ku'e every day and no can quit. Aloha.